Seattle, Washington, early 1980s. Jewel is in her garage working on her car when the phone rings.
Well, whoever that is would just have to wait. I'm bound to the XR7 today. She takes care of me and I take care of her. Well, my goodness.
I don't know why it takes women so long to get to the phone.
Jewel wipes her hands and starts moving towards the house. Just as she opens the door, Amos hangs up, the phone stops ringing.
Of course.
Jewel walks back to the car and continues her work. Amos returns to the phone, a newspaper in hand.
If Amos knows one thing, it's women. I'll just give her some more time.
Oh, Lord. Maybe it's important.
She rushes inside to the phone.
Hello?
Hey, Jewel.
Hey, Amos?
Why are you out of breath?
I was outside.
Yeah, nice day out there today, huh? No rain? Working in your garden, I suppose.
No, actually,
You got that mulch Deacon Jones left for all you ladies?
Oh, yes, I did, but...
Yeah, make sure you spread it thin now. Nice and thin.
Amos,
nice and thin.
I'm changing the oil in the car.
Nah, I know you weren't changing the oil. You must have been adding the oil.
No, I was changing the oil, Amos.
Jewel, you can... Oh, Robert is over there. Why didn't you say so? Tell your brother-in-law I said hello, what's going on?
Robert? No, Robert is not.
Well, I know you didn't ask old Lamar to come over and help you. Why you do something like that? I could have come by.
Amos, neither Robert nor Lamar is over here doing anything for me. And you don't have to come by. I can change the oil.
Changing it. All right. Tell me what you did. What you do? Come on, what you do?
Really, Amos?
What you do? Come on now. Tell me what you did.
I got under the car. I removed the drain plug. And then,
Jewel,
voila!
You changed the oil.
Act 1, Scene 1, 1961. A school playground in the Watts area of Los Angeles. The newspaper boys are jaw-jocking and doing wheelies on their Stingray bikes. They are waiting for the newspaper manager to get there so they can pick up their newspapers for delivery to the customers on their routes. Arnold Benedict arrives with his station wagon loaded down in the back seat and back area with newspapers. He opens the door after his rugged stop and gets out.
All right. Listen up now. Let me get your attention. Get your newspapers and listen up.
Yo, come on. Get over here, y'all. Listen up. Oh, shut up, Rudy. You ain't running nothing around here.
Hey, y'all. Rudy's right. Get your papers and listen up.
Yeah, man. Listen up. Beaver, you ought to get your papers and sit your butt down over there somewhere.
I got my papers, and I'm going to fold them while we listen to Mr. Benedict.
All right, fellas, all right. Gather around and listen.
Beaver, Rudy, Renard, Robert Lee, Marvin, and Sammy move closer to the manager while the other paper boys fold and finish putting their newspapers into their bike bags.
Now, the paper has come out with a campaign to increase subscriptions. For every one of you who gets 5 starts, you'll get a trip to Disneyland. Here, now take these sheets and fill them out.
He passes out official Herald Examiner newspaper forms to the excited boys who are playfully pushing each other for close position.
Yeah, man, I want to go to Disneyland. I'm going to get them stars. Oh, Rudy, I'm going to get mine too because I'm going.
We're all going, y'all. Let's go get these papers thrown and delivered and get them stars. Let's go now.
Yeah, man, I'm going too. And I already got 3 starts over there on 115th Street. I got some people I've been talking to myself.
We going to Disneyland, you.
We going to Disneyland.
Act 2, Scene 1. The paper boys are at the playground waiting for the bus and talking about going to Disneyland as they wait for their manager to get there with the last of the paper boys. Finally, the manager drives his station wagon up with the last of the paper boys. They all get out of the vehicle and multiple doors slamming. The manager starts trying to get the paper boys seated on the bus to Disneyland. The paper boys are gathered around and standing to get onto the bus. They talk excitedly and loudly with fun in their voices. Today, they're going to Disneyland. Some of the other black paper boys are milling around and talking loud about the trip. Their conversations and comments fade in and out.
Hey, you boys all did a good job getting starts, and I know each of you worked hard over the last month. Congratulations to each of you. You got new subscriptions and earned your trip to Disneyland today.
We woke up super early to deliver all my papers so we could be here and be ready to go.
Our daddies all say we're doing man stuff with real jobs now.
We've been working for almost 4 weeks now. Get a bus seat going to Disneyland.
We got our new customer starts and we earned our way like everyone else. We're going to Disneyland.
All right. Listen up now. Y'all get over here in a line so we can get everyone on the bus. Let me get your attention so I can check your name off the list and get you on the bus. Hey, Beaver, come on. What are you doing over there? Come on and listen up.
Y'all, come on, Beaver, not again. Let's do it so we can go, y'all. Listen up.
Shut up, Rudy. You know that you ain't running nothing around
Come
here.
on, y'all. Let's get on the bus. Hey, Marvin, Robert Lee, Sammy, let's go.
Yeah, man, listen up so we can get on the bus.
Beaver, you ought to get your butt over here now.
Come on, everybody, and sit your butt down there somewhere.
I want to get on that bus, y'all, and I'm going to listen to Mr. Benedict so we could go to Disneyland.
All right, fellas. When I call your name, get on the bus, find a seat, and sit down. Come on now.
The boys move onto the bus by moving behind slices of the bus pictures as the names are being called by the manager. Then the manager gets on the bus.
Hey, fellas. I really need your attention now. I got to tell you something that I don't want to tell you, but I have to. Now, each of you listen to me about this trip to Disneyland. They don't see you like the little white paper boys. They...
The Haunted Mansion!
Attention. Hey, y'all need to listen to me. Now, they do not see you like the little white paper boys. They...
Yeah, man. I know. I just want to ride all the rides at Disneyland. Oh, I'm going to have me some fun, y'all.
Oh, Rudy, I'm going to have fun, too. You know what you going to ride?
We're all going to ride everything, y'all. Let's stay together when we get to Disneyland, when we get there.
Yeah, man. I'm going to ride everything, too. And then...
I know some of the rides I want to ride.
I know what I want to ride, too. We're going to Disneyland. We're going to Disneyland. We're going to Disneyland. We're going to Disneyland.
Act 3, Scene 1. The bus arrives at the Disneyland parking lot with the black newspaper boys still having a good time. They exit the bus and start heading into the Disneyland Magical Park.
Yeah, man. I'm going to ride everything, too. And this is going to be really magical, y'all.
I already know it is. With all those rides I saw on TV, I want to ride those rides. Disneyland. Just like I thought it would be.
I know what I want to ride, too. We going to Disneyland. Disneyland, man. Disneyland. Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, everything.
Act 3, Scene 2. The Paperboys are making their way back to their bus in the parking lot, sharing stories of the Disneyland experiences and their time with Mickey and Goofy.
All right. Listen up now. Y'all get on the bus and listen to these men. Let me get your attention so I can check your name off the list. Hey, Beaver, get your butt over here. Sit down and listen up.
The boys are surprised.
Come on over here and sit with me. And y'all better listen up.
Shut up, Rudy. I don't want to sit by your black butt.
Come on, y'all. Get on the bus and let's get to our seats.
Pushing and shoving to get on the bus and walking loudly down the aisle.
Yeah, man. Can we just get on the bus already?
Beaver, get your butt over here now. Get to your seat. Come on. Now.
Come on, everybody. Sit your butt down over there somewhere and listen up.
I want to get my seat on the bus, y'all, and I'm going to listen to Mr. Benedict so we can get the bus started and go home.
All right, fellas. Stay in your seats and sit down. Come on now. I need you to listen to these men from Disneyland. Come on now.
3 suited Caucasian men enter the bus. They mumble and mutter to each other in indistinguishable conversations. Standing like the Man of Steel, they take center stage as one begins to speak in an official Disneyland voice.
Now I need each of you to listen to me. Each one of you are to get off the bus. Take your bags and wait outside along the bus. You are to exit the bus from the first row, right seat, then to the left seat. And the next row, right and left seats. You are to continue exiting this way all the way to the back row, right, then left seats. Please do this quickly and start now.
The black Paperboys start nervously getting up and exiting the bus to stand outside along the side.
All right, fellas, let's go. Listen to the Disneyland man, all right now? All right now.
Hey, man, what's happening? What's happening here at Disneyland to us?
Saying as he passes the Disneyland man.
I'm going to tell my mama, y'all.
Oh, Rudy, I'm scared now. Just do what they say. Don't start no mess.
Saying as he passes the Disneyland man.
I don't know what's going on. This ain't cool.
Saying as he passes the Disneyland man.
Yo, let's see what they're gonna do to us here in the Disneyland parking lot.
Wrestling to get out the bus with the other black Paperboys.
Yeah, man, I sure ain't ready for this stuff. What's going on?
I know what it is, but I want to ride out of here now.
We're gonna get searched, yo. We're gonna get searched by the Disneyland man like the police. Yo,
We're gonna get searched like the police by the Disneyland man?
All right, now, each of you, show me what's in your bags. All right, now, open them bags wide, all the way up.
Yo, we're gonna get searched like the police by the Disneyland man.
You got a receipt for that, boy? Huh? Where's your receipt for that there stuff, boy?
Yo, we're gonna be searched like the police by the Disneyland man.
All right, now, open up them there bags. Let me see in there.
Yo, we're gonna be searched like the police by the Disneyland man. Yo, listen to them. They's the white man. They from Disneyland.
yo,
We were searched like the police by the Disneyland man,
and the manager let it happen too.
All right, now, I'm doing this for your own good, boy.
Yo, we were searched like the police by the Disneyland man, and the manager let it happen too.
All right, now, open up their bags. Let me see in there. Now, boy, you got to listen to me.
Yo, we were searched like the police by the Disneyland man, and the manager let it happen too.
All right, now, get your black butt back on the bus there.
We were searched like the police by the Disneyland man, and the manager let it happen too.
The manager and driver say nothing. The boys finally all get back on the bus. Some are crying from their ordeal and their explicative-laced expressions being shouted out the windows of the bus to verbally rain down on the Disneyland men as the sounds of the bus motor starts up and begins pulling off. Act 3, Scene 2. The paper boys are sitting quietly in their seats on their way back to Watts.
Boys, I'm sorry that happened. I tried to tell you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
The boys look up together at the paper manager. Their faces show the puzzlement as they return to and get on the bus. They now understand and feel how the incident impacted them as young black paper boys on the way home. It seems like something is missing. This final scene has us listening to each boy's voice as he cries and pleads in his own mind.
Why would they do us like that?
Hell, that was some racist white crap they did to us.
I don't feel so good. I don't feel good at all. We just wanted to have fun at Disneyland.
Boys, I didn't mean for this to happen.
Years later, after the paper boy has matured as a man and looks back on the incident with eyes of experience and a voice of sadness, the LA Herald Examiner positioned vulnerable young black paper boys to have their voices violated, have their rights violated, as well as to be threatened and harassed by white Disneyland officials. These black youth being illegally profiled and unlawfully searched are also being held to subjected to psychological abuse by the Disneyland officials. Thanks for the magic, Walt.
End of play. Opening scene. Anita stands at kitchen sink. Cole slouches over the table looking through bills, texting and answering email. TJ is off stage in the bathroom. Sounds of toilet tank flushing and gurgling water sounds are heard.
Mom? Mom? Mom?
Isn't that your son calling you?
It won't go down. It won't stop going around.
Why don't you go see what he wants?
Don't you hear him too? My hands are wet.
Hurry, Mom!
He's calling you.
Mom? Are you coming?
Sounds like he needs help.
He's your child too.
Yeah, well, those bills belong to the both of us too.
Sighing and mumbling to herself, she plops the dishcloth into the kitchen pan/sink, wipes her hands on her apron/house dress, and walks down the hallway to the bathroom.
What's going on? What are you doing?
Look, Mom. It won't stop.
Toilet paper is on the floor and in the toilet, but he continues to pull more.
Wow. I don't think all that is helping.
Mother reaches over and jiggles the toilet handle.
Watch out, it might spill over.
Why don't the water go down?
Zip up your pants, fix your belt.
It won't zip. Up, my buckle is twisted.
Mother stops to untangle belt and button pants while listening to the running and gushing water toilet tank.
Oh, move out of the way, now.
Son moves near the door entry. She lifts the heavy white ceramic tank and slides it into the trash can.
Oh my gosh.
I think I can fix it.
Mother sticks her hands into the muck-stained tank and tries to shut off the running water. Son peers at the toilet tank.
Get back.
The water continues to gulp and hiss. Frustrated, she closes the toilet seat top, puts trash can on top of the toilet seat top. She marches to the kitchen, grumbling.
He told me that it was okay to use it. He said he fixed that old thing.
Mom, what are you gonna do? Can Dad fix it?
What's going on back there? What do you want?
That toilet does not work.
It was working this morning when I used it.
Well, this morning is not now. You told us that you fixed it.
What did you two do to it?
What did you do to it? It's going round and round. Can't you fix it?
Okay. As soon as I finish with this.
We need a working toilet.
I'll be there in a minute. It should be easy.
Mother returns to the kitchen sink. She cools her anger by slapping the dishcloth against the water, but splashes water on herself.
I do not want to hear your usual, I'll get to it this weekend when I have more time. You take time to text your friends.
Okay. This should be easy. I have the right tools in one of these boxes. The hardware man told me to buy, to tell me what to buy to be a home plumber and save money, which we don't have enough of since you got laid off. 2 incomes would be a lot easier to pay these bills.
He scrambles in boxes, then goes off stage to find tools and work in the bathroom.
I can fix it. I promise.
You guys stay in the kitchen. I can do it by myself.
Mother in the kitchenette. She listens for his footsteps, tool belt clinks, and dunk of toilet top.
Can you fix it? Do you need any help?
Get the mop. It's everywhere. Hurry up.
Mama, what's he doing? Can we help now?
She grabs mop, hastens to the bathroom with son trailing behind her, smirking at the sight of her husband straddled across the toilet seat as water trickled down his arms, elbows, and dripping onto the floor.
What are you gonna do with the mop? What happened?
I don't know.
Oh, what is that hissing sound? Why is water everywhere?
Can we help now?
Can you at least try mopping up the water on the floor? Hand me that box on the shelf counter.
One size fits all, toilet ball and stopper, Emporium Hardware Store. Need help? Call us. When did you get this? How do you know it will work? Do you think it'll fit our toilet? This ball is white styrofoam. Our ball is black and rubber. Our toilet is corroded.
For God's sake, will you let me try it?
Let's call a real plumber. Call Emporium.
Leave me alone, please. Just leave me alone.
She glares, frowns, and then breathes deeply to calm herself rather than be angry in front of TJ. She ushers TJ to the door.
Come on, TJ. Let him try to fix it.
This is just too much right now. These bills, old house, one salary, something is always breaking. It's just too much.
She turns back and puts a hand on his shoulder. After a few moments, he rests his hand on hers.
Okay. I can fix it.
End of play. Act 1, Scene 1. Voices of children playing. Towels, picnic baskets, and beach balls are surrounding the bench.
I hope you won't be offended if I use the end of this bench to stretch.
Not at all, please. I'd enjoy the pleasure of your company. You clearly take good care of yourself. May I ask, are you a runner?
Well, you might say that as much as I run, twist, turn, jump, and leap across stages. I feel like I'm constantly training for a marathon.
Ah, a dancer.
I'm definitely a dancer by occupation. I have danced for as long as I can remember.
And now you're a professional?
Straightens up and does a couple of ballet moves.
How's that for proof? I've performed with the Pacific Northwest Ballet for years as a principal. Name a major production and I was probably in it. I am now at a point where my body is telling me it is time to retire and do something different. On top of that, I will need surgery soon. But it is par for the course.
I'm very sorry to hear that. The life of a dancer can be a thing of striking beauty, but fraught with pain. I used to dance professionally myself. My mind still remembers the freedom and grace of movement, but my body feels the limitations of age and injuries.
You used to dance professionally?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Which company?
I would rise and demonstrate a step or two, but I'm afraid those days are long gone. I performed before you took your first baby steps. I had the absolute pleasure of performing with the world-renowned Alvin 80 Dance Company, also as a principal. We performed places from esteemed choreographers and toured nationally and internationally. Have you heard of them?
The name sounds vaguely familiar. If I recall, aren't they just a black dance troupe?
The company is comprised of some of the most talented, agile, and powerful bodies in the profession, with immense ability and emotion. Their performances are mystical and masterful.
Well, that's interesting. Perhaps I will watch one of their performances on YouTube while recuperating. It's been nice, but I'd better keep moving. Maybe one day you can come watch me perform as my guest, before my time is up for good.
It would be an honor. And I hope your surgery goes well. Know that the world awaits the next chapter of your greatness.
Why, thank you. You're so sweet. Take care, and I hope to see you again soon.
Act 2, Scene 2. Beach ball rolls towards Mr. Maestro. Two giggling children run to grab the ball and leave. Noah walks towards the bench, carrying an easel and paintbrushes.
Oh, excuse me. Sir, are you expecting anybody?
Just you. This seat is for anyone who would take it. Please, have a seat.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I don't like to make assumptions.
He positions his easel and begins pulling out his brushes and paints from a bag.
Oh, how wonderful. A landscape painter. What a treat to share the bench with a fellow artist. My name is Mr. Maestro.
Oh, I gladly would shake your hand, but my hands are dirty. You look squeaky clean. Pleased to meet you. So you have the name of a conductor. My name is Noah, named after the man who built the ark. I find the scenery, shadow placement, and lighting perfect at this time of day. With all that's going on in the world, I can paint myself into a world of peace and tranquility.
I agree. Painting allows your creative juices to flow thick and buttery like Aunt Jemima's syrup. But I know all too well that the subject for certain types of art can be a sticky subject for many people. I used to do a little abstract painting myself of landscapes, particularly historical places in the South where broken bodies swayed in the summer air, beaten and battered, drying from the branches of bandura or oak trees like shredded beef. But as you can see, age has not been kind to my hands and my fingers.
Wow, those are probably some very stark and dark images using mainly brown and black colors with splashes of green.
No, there was a little white. I have traveled to almost every state, painting weeping trees haunted by the heavy weight of sadness and sorrow.
Are you talking about lynching? You painted hangings. I couldn't do that, but I admire your commitment.
I have faith in you, young man. I see compassion and a deep sense of humanity in your eyes. You see a tree over there? Allow your mind to visualize loose skin as shreds of fabric flapping in the breeze, stained red sheets hanging from branches forced to bear the shame and suffering. Let your heart do the painting. Your desire to connect with history will guide your hands.
Quickly packing his supplies.
No, I'm good. That's a bit much for me, thank you. I will just stick to blue pristine water, white snow-capped mountains, green rolling hills and valleys. The branches I paint are too weak to support a body. Well, it was good talking to you.
Are you leaving so soon?
Yeah. I was mistaken. Somehow light isn't exactly as I had expected. It just doesn't feel right. Perhaps I will see you around again. I will definitely keep what you said in mind, and maybe you can show me one of your paintings someday.
Maybe so.
Hey, what's up? Anybody in this spot?
Sure, young man. Take a seat.
Just needed a minute to sit down and chill. I've been moving these CDs faster than a chicken sandwich at Popeyes. So, you retired?
Young man, I have retired from this, that, and the other more times than you can count. I just enjoy coming here to relax. Madison Park Beach is so beautiful this time of year, when the sun is shining and families are enjoying themselves. Warms my old bones. Plus, I get to talk to interested and smart young people such as yourself. What's your name? What's your name?
My mama named me Derek, but people call me Hand-Me-Down. Pleased to meet you.
Who came up with that nickname for you?
My parents, and then my homies jumped on it. I have 3 older brothers. So, you know, I got hand me down to the socks. And the pants would be so thin, you could see the design on my SpongeBob underpants.
Well, I had older siblings as well. I know all about getting leftovers. Leftover meals, leftover toys that were often broken beyond recognition. Yep.
I heard that.
Yep.
So my homies call me Hand-Me-Down because I hand down clarity and flow that anyone can understand and most people know. So I rap about where I've been and what I've seen. My lyrics are sound, poetic, and lean. I even graduated from college. Rap's in my soul. That puts me in the studio and in the streets, hustling and grinding.
Would you believe that I've met and spent time with some of the best rappers in the field? Tupac, Jay-Z, Kanye West, Dr. Dre, 50 Cent, yeah, several others in the industry.
Say what?
Yeah.
Man, you lying.
Huh?
All right, ain't no way. Ain't no way. You too old. My bad, my bad. I apologize.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know you were once a young man, but, man, you was really, like, socializing and hanging out with them?
Mm-hmm.
Yo, that's what's up.
True story. I even tried a bit of rapping myself. But the dynamics of my voice have changed with time. Rap is just another thin layer of our lives, stacked generation after generations. You selling those CDs?
Yeah. I'm selling them. Selling them $5 each. You want one for your grandkids? Make sure to tell them to hang on because I'm about to pop off.
No, it's for me. Bring back moments, memories from the days when dance troupes were finally integrated. Galleries competed for black art. Music fueled the civil rights movement. And fruit hanging from trees were for eating. Yeah.
I like you.
Oh,
You
glad.
good people. Thanks. You know, you remind me of my granddad. All dapper and clean. Well, I got studio time, so I need to let out. Enjoy the beat. I tell you what, when I finish the next CD, I'll bring it to you. Here, put your number on this.
Hey, young man, think about a name change. Maybe HMD.
Act 4, Scene 4. Sound of children playing. A couple of signs are posted to the back of the bench. Carolyn, Noah, and Hand-Me-Down walk up around the same time. Carolyn has crutches. They all look at the signs on the bench. Hand-Me-Down grabs one first.
Hey. Hi. Hey. Howdy.
Hey.
So all those that shared their lives from this very bench with Mr. Maestro, we gave him the nickname because he suffered from Alzheimer's and could never remember his true name. His birth name is Bickham Jenkins. He had an incredible baritone voice and often sang for the residents accompanied by the piano. He also lived a fearless and rich life. As a young boy living in the South, he witnessed the horrific lynching of his father, a respected businessman. His family fled to the Seattle area with barely a penny to their name. His mother had a beautiful voice and was a superb seamstress. She found a job sewing and repairing costumes for a large dance company. Mr. Jenkins often watched practices and performances. He was a phenomenal and natural dancer. Because of his color, it would not allow him to take lessons. As his mom sewed, he watched and learned. He became a principal in the Alvin Ailey Company, performing all over the world. Later in life, he weaved and snaked popular rap music into his dance performances. When clear thinking, he would perform rap music for the residents. He said rap made him feel unchained and free. He had no children and never married, but enjoyed his nieces and nephews who came to visit him often and took him on outings. His travels as a performer allowed him to entertain and dine with well-known writers, heads of states, rappers, singers, dancers, artists, and musicians. He never fully recovered from the tragic death of his father and looked to the trees for solace and inspiration for his paintings. Art depicting heart-wrenching abstract images of shadows blowing in the wind, often next to the U.S. flags, as if sheets hung on the line to dry. He learned to paint some of the most masterful, powerful, and touching pieces that hang in galleries around the world. The African American experience was motivation to soar above racism and negativity. The music of the rapper, Hand-Me-Down, filled the room when he passed. His ballet slippers were in his hand, and he wheeled one of his most prized paintings to a young man named Noah. If anyone knows him, please have him come to the listed home. He wanted us to leave this note and to thank you for being part of his life journey. Be great, but most of all, be kind. Also, he has a list of numbers for Hand-Me-Down and a signed Alvin Ailey table book for a caroling. Thank you to the staff.
Well, then I guess introductions are in order. My name is Noah.
I am blown away. I go by HMD.
And surprise, I'm Carolyn. What are the odds of this happening? Weird.
Yo, this is so sci-fi. What gifts are you bearing?
A sketch I was planning to have Mr. Meister look at. He suggested something, and I gave it a shot.
Yo, that's dope. I could really use that for my next album cover.
Oh, okay, sounds good. We will definitely talk. Well, my fellow aliens, I know that facility, and it's right up the hill. Let's say we go together? Everyone has time?
Carolyn sees two children dancing near an adult on a blanket.
Oh, just a second.
She limps over to the two children and adult.
Excuse me, ma'am? I dance for the Pacific Northwest Ballet, and I have 2 comp tickets to a performance that I would like to give to you. It looks like the kids love to dance.
The woman looks up at her, but does
Also,
not rise.
If your children would like dance lessons, and you're okay with it, I can arrange for lessons at no cost to you.
The children shout and are jumping around. Yes, yes, yes! Their mother rises to accept the tickets and hug her. They exchange information. The end. Place, Chicago. 1975, Queenie's bedroom. Nighttime. Queenie and Candace are in Queenie's bedroom. Candace is spending the night with Queenie so she can help her study for her history exam. Queenie is seated in the middle of her bed. Her hair is in a 6-inch wide natural. She has on white cotton pajamas with pictures of Martin Luther King Jr. printed on them. A history book lays on the bed beside her. Candace is sitting in a chair that's turned backwards. Her hair is in long braids. She has on white cotton pajamas with pictures of Malcolm X printed on them.
Brother Ramsey, the Black Muslim minister, finally got our high school to include Black studies in their curriculum. I plan to take you down to the community center the next time he comes to speak to us. He says now we will get an opportunity to learn about the people of our race who did great things instead of that half-page paragraph in a book on Black history that says nothing about how our ancestors really survived in this country. Let's get started, Queenie. I want you to ace this test. What was Sojourner Truth's famous quote? When was she born and when did she die? Come on.
Huh?
Come on, Queenie. We were just talking about her the other day.
Ain't a woman born in 1797, died November 26, 1883.
Candace reaches over and slaps hands with Queenie.
Our Black female hero who rescued over 700 brothers and sisters from slavery during the Civil War. Her name, when she was born, and when did the sister soldier die?
Harriet Tubman, born 1820, died March 10th, 1913.
That's what I'm talking about. The Preacher Brothers that caused the slave rebellion in the 18th century.
Nat Turner, born 1800, died November 11th, 1831. Why do I have to learn Black history? I already aced my American history test, Candace.
Girl, white American history tells you little or nothing about who you are. It is written to tell the white man's history, not ours.
I don't really see any differences. We all live in the same country, go to the same schools. What does it really matter?
They are interrupted when the door slowly opens and Redbone peeps inside the room. His red hair is shaved around the sides, and a big, wide red afro sits on top of his head.
Didn't I tell you to knock before opening my door?
I'm sorry, I guess I forgot.
Redbone climbs onto the bed beside her.
Oh, where have you been?
Hi, Candace. Where you get those pajamas?
From the brothers selling clothes down the street. You see these pictures? They're of Malcolm X, one of the greatest Muslim leaders of this country.
Really? They're neat. Mama took me over to Grandpa's house to see 7-Up. You know Auntie Lily, Uncle Joe, and 7-Up lives with Grandpa now?
Yeah, Grandpa just got out the hospital. He needs someone to stay with him since he can't take care of himself.
Grandpa let us come up to his room and watch some old movies about Black history. He told us they were classics back in the day.
Grandpa let you guys in his room? He must really be feeling lonely.
Redbone, what kind of movies were your grandfather showing you guys?
He was showing us movies of Black history and how this white dude over in Africa took care of the African people. They called him King of the Jungle.
What white man was a king in Africa?
In the movie Grandpa had us watch, this white dude was living in a jungle in Africa. Grandpa told us those Africans loved him. They didn't do nothing until he told them what to do. All the animals loved him too.
The animals over in Africa are wild. What was Grandpa showing you guys that made it look like some white dude had them tamed? And what else did Grandpa have you two learn from those old movies while he sat in the background laughing?
We learned how Tarzan, that was his name. He lived in Africa and was the king of the jungle. Grandpa said he was there taking care of all the Africans. We saw lots of old movies of how Africans lived and how Tarzan took care of them. Grandpa told us lots of things about Black history we didn't know before.
Redbone kicks off his shoes. He's wearing red socks that are matching his red shirt. He gets more comfortable on Queenie's bed and flips through her history book. Candace stands up.
That's the kind of brainwashing the white man used on us back in the day. The same way he used the Bible to keep us thinking in a subservient mindset.
Now, Candace, don't be knocking the Bible. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. used that Bible to get us where we are today. Mama told me that.
He sure did use it for us. Brother Ramsey told us when he talked to us at the community center that the white man used the Bible as a way to keep us humble and under his control. Dr. King turned around and used that same Bible the white man used to demean us, to expose white people's wrongs against us. That Bible sure exposed those lies he had been telling us. What else did you learn from your grandfather, boy?
We learned how Tarzan took care of all the Africans so the lions and tigers wouldn't eat him up.
I bet Grandpa was laughing his head off seeing how you two were sucking up what he was telling you.
We were all laughing at them coming out of those straw huts they lived in. They hardly wore any clothes, had bones in their noses and plates stuck in their lips. Ugh, they looked horrible. Tarzan lived in a house up in a tree. Have you seen him swing across the jungle on his tree rope? Grandpa told Aunt Lily and Mama how we were cracking up when those Africans and animals start running across the jungle when they heard Tarzan swinging between those trees, hollering his head off. Boy, could he holler.
Did it ever occur to you that those old movies you guys were watching were made to make black people look inferior to white people? They used those films to concrete in our minds the belief that we were not much better than the Africans in those Tarzan movies. This is how lies get into your brain and make you stupid. Those movies were filmed to make us look stupid.
Grandpa didn't tell us they were made to make us look stupid. He never let us in his room before, and we were happy to be in there seeing all those old-fashioned things we've never seen before, like that big old jukebox with all those old-time records in it. He said nobody sang songs like them anymore. He had these old movies he let us watch with him. You should have seen Tarzan running through the jungle with his knife on his side. When he didn't run to run, he had his big elephant he rode on. I thought he would fall off its back. It was so big. He had monkeys riding on his shoulders. Grandpa said those monkeys and Africans were his friends. Who do you think brought all those Africans over to this country?
Brought them where?
Redbone hugs his sister's history book.
You girls don't know nothing about your history.
What do you mean we don't know nothing? Next thing you will be telling us is that your grandfather told you Tarzan brought Africans to this country.
He did. Dumb girls. Grandpa said Tarzan had them Africans build a big boat and put all them brothers in it. It could hold. And told them he was taking them to America to pick cotton.
Queenie, now do you see why it's important for you to learn your history? Your poor old grandfather was duped into believing all kinds of lies because the white man was the only one telling him his history, girl.
You're right. Grandpa is funny like that. He used to have me looking at lots of old movies too when Mom had him watching me. I believed just like Redbone until Mama took me aside and told me that those movies were fake. That they were all her parents grew up looking at on those old black and white TVs. She said that movies made of black people back then were cartoons, making them look ugly and dumb. I'm beginning to see how our people were brainwashed into seeing themselves in the way white people wanted us to be seen. Maybe you're right. I do need to learn my own history.
We got our first lesson in Black history today.
Grandpa was having fun with you in 7-Up. Probably lonely, confined in that room by himself. He doesn't believe those movies are real.
You see how black men were conned into processing their hair with that lie, wanting to be like white people instead of loving their own hair like you and Redbone now? Your grandfather was probably one of them when he had hair on his head. All that Angela Davis natural you're sporting.
Mama told me back in the day when they made those black and white movies, very few, if any, people like our grandfather had been to Africa. And even those who knew the movies were fake didn't know how Africans lived in Africa. Just like you in 7-Up, they thought the way those filmmakers portrayed Africans was really how all Africans live.
You can bet they weren't making movies that showed how some white people lived before they became civilized troglodytes.
What's troglodytes?
People who lived in caves. White people lived in caves before they became so-called civilized. Don't you know that?
Tarzan is make-believe, Redbone. That white man probably has never been to Africa.
No one white man sure as heck was over in Africa taking care of Africans. Those filmmakers made up Tarzan, just like they made up blackface cartoons to demean black people back in the day. They wanted to make black people looking at those films believe one white man had that much power over black people, even in Africa. Now I understand what Brother Ramsey means when he says white people purposely twisted our history to make us look inferior to them. It made them feel it was okay to mistreat us, is what Brother Ramsey says.
Nah, it ain't make-believe. Grandpa told us Tarzan brought them Africans over here just after King Kong came to this country looking for his wife.
Grandpa told you what?
Mm-hmm. Tarzan did bring those African brothers over here just like Grandpa said. And don't you know who King Kong is? Y'all don't know nothing about your history? He came over looking for his wife. Grandpa says white men took her back to America. They had to leave her the first time they came because King Kong had taken her.
Your grandfather's teaching your brother the same lies he was taught to believe by white people who wanted to continue to depict us as inferior to them so that we couldn't rival them in any way. That's why they're always talking about it's our first time for winning or doing anything great. What they really are saying is that it's the first time they allowed us to compete against them. Your grandpa and other voices age back in the day looked at those movies not realizing that they had been filmed to entertain their audience at Black people's expense. The Black people believed, like everyone else, that those Africans were destitute. They had no one to explain to them how those movies were used to belittle our race of people.
I'm going to tell Grandpa as soon as I see him not to be showing films like that to little Black kids like that about our history. Candace, you're right. I need to learn my history. It didn't seem important before, hearing my brother and realizing he believes what Grandpa told him. I'm beginning to understand what happened to cause my grandpa and others of his age to think the way that they do, even about the color of their skin. I know not all do, but those that do can influence how younger kids like Redbone and 7 Up think.
You can see it for yourself, like we did on television right in Grandpa's room. They ain't lies. King Kong did come over here looking for his wife. He must have found her because we saw him right on Grandpa's TV up on top of the Empire State Building carrying a white woman in his hand.
A white woman.
Queenie's bedroom door opens, and only the audience sees a person dressed in a King Kong suit enter the room with a white doll in his hand. King Kong jumps up and down, waving his white doll, then leaves the room.
When those airplanes flying in the sky came and shot him down, King Kong fell on the ground so hard, he bust the concrete wide open.
Oh my God, what happened to the white woman he was carrying, Redbone?
I don't know. She went on back to the white man that had got King Kong shot down, I guess.
Now you see how stupid that sounds? Teaching little kids lies like that? Down through history, white people have used all sorts of tricks to make us look bad, not only with films, as Brother Ramsey says, but blackface cartoons was one of their favorite ways as well.
How did they use them?
White people here in America seeing those movies believe they have to protect the helpless white woman from the terrifying black man desperate to have her, making it okay to hang black men. A black kid named Emmett Till was killed because he was said to have whistled at a white woman. Movies like King Kong incite that kind of behavior against black people, Redbone.
Candace takes a seat on the bed where Redbone sits.
Because our ancestors were Africans, the people back in the day viewed those films in a way that set a pattern of hatred and racial bigotry against our skin color. Because King Kong was a black gorilla, they used him to depict black men in a way that made them seem desperate to have white women.
We're not animals any more than white people are, as hairy as they look sometimes. But how they depict us gives the illusion that we are and that there is some white man out there who came over to Africa performing superhuman feats, making all white people seem larger than life.
Or they show people who are not white, living in poverty, that makes the viewer see them as primitive, developing in the minds of black viewers that it is true of them as a race of people. They had no idea how Africans really lived in Africa.
I don't understand.
Those movies made Africans look like they were 2 steps short of being little more than the animals they lived among. It was a cruel way to depict an entire race of people, especially people who knew nothing about the country they were from. We have to learn to be proud of who we are. We have so much to offer our country as Black Americans. Unfortunately for the white people living in this country, they have never taken advantage of the good things that can be gotten by treating us decent and with respect. Instead, they do the opposite.
Your sister is right. We are a phenomenal people. Can you imagine living under slave castles, surviving the mid-passage, then coming to this country as slaves? Enduring that horrible life until we fought and won our freedom, or so we thought. At least that's what Brother Ramsey says. He says we realized it was all a lie when we were forced to spend another 100 years living in conditions worse than slavery. Probably your grandfather lived in some of those horrible conditions himself.
I think that's why Grandpa never talks about how he grew up as a little boy. It's probably too painful to think about. We can't blame him. He must understand. He must understand and be glad we are now fighting back to have our rightful place in this country since they took us from Africa. I see why Candace insists that I learn real facts about my history. I can make sure you understand Grandpa better.
What country is Africa?
Africa is a continent, not a country, Redbone. That means it is so large there are many countries in it. Very few people on the continent of Africa live in jungles. And most certainly not all people who live in Africa are black, as many believe. There are many races of people living there, as well as some who live in elaborate homes. Not all Africans were poor, even back in the day, and many are very wealthy today. It has been said that British white men living in Africa during the slave trade had black wives in Africa and white wives in England. They had children by their African wives they sent to England to be schooled, so that should tell you something.
It would be the same as if somebody filmed a movie of homeless white people living in America eating out of garbage cans, and the people who lived in another country viewed it. If they had never been to this country, many would believe all white Americans ate garbage. Now in schools, we are learning our own history and the many ways white people made us ashamed of our race without us knowing they were doing it.
Queenie
Okay,
looks over at Candace, still seated on the floor beside her.
okay, Candace. I now understand how important it is to know about the people whose backs make it possible for us to survive. You keep telling me about those backs all the time.
There is much to be learned about Africa, much more than those cruel filmmakers who make movies that hurt us will ever know. And yes, Queenie, I will continue to drill that into you so no one, not even your grandfather, can cause you to believe lies about your history.
If if one black man, let alone one white man, took his behind over to Africa carrying a little bitty knife, talking about taking care of some Africans, they would have been carrying him out of there on a stretcher.
We have our own superheroes who fought the cruel system we lived under to succeed, even in our own country, in our own century. Paul Robeson, Sidney Poitier, and Jesse Owens were heroes in your grandfather's day, just like Joe Louis and Jack Johnson. As a boy, you need to hear the names of men who have done great things. They were men like Muhammad Ali and Gordon Parks who swung on ropes so that you can be what you want to become. Those ropes are symbolic of their fight against the hatred and violence they faced to prove their excellence as men. Make no mistake about it, many lost their lives doing so. We're now learning that those types of movies Grandpa watched as a boy and now have you guys watching about superhero characters back in his day were all white superheroes. That gave the impression to many viewers that white people are superhuman above any other race on the planet when they are not, Redbone.
Candace pulled him close to her as she sat beside him on Queenie's bed.
Tarzan wasn't king of the jungle? He didn't bring slaves over here?
Tarzan was the king of nothing, boy. He's a made-up character. No white man came and took Africans from Africa and brought them to this country to pick cotton. If the truth be told, Africans from Africa captured other Africans and sold them to the British slave.
Other Africans?
Slaves.
Why would they do that?
Redbone, back in the 16th, 17th, and 18th century, Africans were captured and brought to this country by slave traders who took them on ships from slave castles. They were sold to slave traders by Africans who came into their villages and captured them when they had tribal wars. The slave traders asked if they could buy the Africans they had captured in return for whatever the Africans wanted. The Africans sold some of the Africans they had captured to the slave traders. If the Africans had not agreed to the sale, the slave traders tried to take them without permission. The Africans would have been fighting back and too many would have been killed. If that had happened, the slave traders wouldn't have been able to get enough slaves to sell. It was after the Africans sold them slaves that it gave the slave traders an opportunity to come and start taking all the people they could steal, even Africans they weren't supposed to be sold into slavery.
You know how it is if you have a bag of candy and someone asks you for some? Well, you've given them 2 pieces of candy, but when you're not looking, they grab the whole bag. That's what happened to the Africans dealing with the slave traders. The slave traders got greedy and took all the Africans they could steal from them.
Slave? They should never have given the slave traders 1 piece of candy. I mean, any of their people. That's sad having them under those castles waiting to be sold. That's not good at all to sell your own people, even if you are mad at them.
No, it wasn't a very smart thing to do because the captured people had to live in those prison castles, waiting for large slave ships with lots of white men on them, men who carried guns to shoot and kill the captive slaves if they tried to escape. They had to stay under those slave castles, sometimes for months, waiting for the slave ships to come for them. By the time Africans started fighting the British to keep their people, our ancestors were already in slavery with no one from any other country to fight for them.
And so that you know, King Kong is fictional too. That story gives a sad impression that all the male gorillas in Africa, the biggest and the blackest fell in love with a white boy.
For real?
For real, boy. Gorillas don't want to mate with any female other than their own kind. They're certainly not interested in mating or marrying no white woman. That's ridiculous.
But Grandpa said...
Candace is over here helping me learn and understand my history for this test I'm taking tomorrow. But it has helped me understand how important it is to know your own history in a way that makes sense to you and gives you a sense of pride. Our grandpa was never given that opportunity. That's why I want you to learn about Black men doing great things. When I think of a woman I'm proud of, or other than the females in our family, I think of Angela Davis. She must have gone through a lot of abuse from a lot of people hating to see her become a part of the Black Panther Party, to fight against the bigotry and hatred that is dug so deep in this racist system. That says how small-minded those haters are, but how much of a hero she was going up against that kind of system. Candace, I did listen to Stokely Carmichael and those other activists speak on racial injustices, although I didn't take them seriously.
Yes, Queenie, Angela Davis took wings and flew beyond what most women of any race would dare to do at a time when racial tension was so explosive. I'm glad you are taking your history seriously now. The first thing we must let Redbone know is that King Kong didn't get shot off no Empire State Building.
For real? He didn't get shot off the Empire State Building?
No, he didn't.
Even Superman is make-believe?
Made up just like the rest. Because all those hero characters back in the day were white people. Many people of our race grew up thinking of white people as superhuman. And that is not a good thing, because no real human can do the things those characters are portrayed as doing, especially when they depict Black people just the opposite. It is important for Black children to understand any person who learns how to make movies like those can have their characters any race they want them to be. But most importantly, is that you learn your history as it happened and what great people came from that history, like film directors such as Sidney Poitier and Paul Robeson. They are Black men who are still important to our race because they had to fight against real, insurmountable odds.
Candace is right. You must learn your real history, not allow someone who hates you tell you what it was.
You can learn to be a filmmaker and make films about heroes of our race who have done and are still doing great things.
For real?
You can become one of them if you want to because of all the sacrifices that those before you made.
Redbone picks up the history book and hugs it.
Well, I still like Tarzan even if he is make-believe.
Why?
When the Africans took gifts from the British took their gifts from the Africans, which was the Africans. They made slaves out of them, treating them mean and cruel. Like Grandpa told me in 7-Up, Tarzan was a true hero because he was always kind to the Africans, never mistreating them or the animals in Africa. To me, that made him a real superhero, unlike the people who were mean and cruel to their gifts or those that sold them away as soon as they captured them.
Redbone, you only like Tarzan because Grandpa likes him, boy.
It's okay to like white people if they deserved it, but you must remember to make sure they are for real and not taking advantage of you. That way you're being respectful to your grandfather, but also attempting to get him to tell you what his real thoughts are.
I'm going to write films about Black superheroes that are big and brave and can fly in the sky as soon as I get into my room. I don't think I want to write about one that stands on the Empire State Building getting shot holding on to a white woman. That's too silly.
Yes, it is silly. Right now, I need you to leave so that Candace can help me ace this test you interrupted. Tomorrow, you and I are going to talk to Grandpa about the movies he's showing you in 7-Up. He might have something to tell us about our history that he's kept inside and needs someone to share it with.
She hugs him. He leaves, and Candace and Queenie get back to studying.
Now, where were we? Who was the black hero who...
Curtain closes.
Setting, Memphis, Tennessee, summer of 1996 in Orange Mound area of town. Downstage, Elda's living room, a couch, coffee table with scattered papers on it. Layla and Macy are the daughters of Elda and Mozetta's older sister. She lives in Chicago and sent the girls to Memphis for the summer. Young Elda and Mozetta both have curly wigs on their heads, scarves, tank tops, jeans or shorts, sandals or flip-flops. An older Elda, Mozetta, and Layla have regular hairstyles. Macy lives in New York, but comes to visit in the last scene. Scene 1, opening scene, 1996. Present day Elda and Layla are sitting on the couch talking and laughing about raising children.
Girl, being a single mom is hard at any age. Babysitting you and Macy that summer that summer of 76, when I was 20, drove me crazy.
Auntie, haven't you heard that it takes a village to raise a child?
Girl, I looked for that village and never found it. Well, that is to say, until one day I was listening to the radio and I heard these people talking about the YMCA and how much fun it was to go there. So I thought, that must be the place.
Oh my gosh. I remember when Auntie Mozetta made that fake flyer and you took Macy and I to the YMCA for a week, to stay for a week. Do you remember that?
Girl, every time I think about it, I want to just choke the mess out of her.
Flashback to 1976. Elda and Layla exit stage and a younger Elda enters. She's talking to herself, searching for her keys in her purse. And after she finds her keys, she yells for the girls to hurry up. Young Layla and Macy are in the other room gathering up their things, but they are not seen.
Now I know my keys are in this purse somewhere. Mozetta probably did something with them. Layla, Macy, y'all ready? The flyer said you had to be there at 7 a.m., so hurry up.
Macy and Layla enter from backstage, rubbing their eyes, still sleepy, dragging their backpacks.
I'm so tired. This backpack is heavy. Do I have to use it?
I'm tired too. I thought we supposed to stay home in the summertime.
If y'all don't come on here, we better not be late.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, I see you found that flyer I picked up for you. Great deal, huh? Woo. Well, gotta go. You girls have a fun week at the Y.
Don't worry, they will. Come on here.
They all exit stage left and head to the YMCA. A little while later, Elda re-enters, sits on the couch, picks up a newspaper, and starts commenting on what she's reading.
What in the world is wrong with these crazy people? This is ridiculous. Say what now? You have got to be kidding me.
Mozetta enters the living room from stage right and sits on the couch.
Girl, what are you reading? The funnies again?
The paper? Whatever.
I can see that, smart person.
Do you have any idea what's going on in the world?
Girl, I don't read that nonsense. If it ain't about me, I don't want to read it. Ooh, dang, it's almost 10 o'clock already? I gotta go to the store. I'll be back later.
As she exits, the phone rings. Elda answers on the second ring. It is Charmaine from the YMCA calling her to pick up Macy and Layla. They are not following the rules of the program and are influencing some of the other kids to break the rules, as well as by playing tag and running wildly around the gym instead of reading books.
Hello?
Good morning, ma'am. My name is Charmaine over here at the YMCA. Can I please speak with Aunt Elder?
This is she.
Man, did you drop off 2 kids this morning?
I did indeed. What's going on? And why are you calling me, ma'am?
Ma'am, you need to pick up your kids. We have a 3-hour maximum and you've exceeded that.
Hey, what? 3 hours? No, 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 no. They are supposed to be there for a week. Summer camp.
Ma'am, this is the YMCA. This is not a summer camp. Where did you get that nonsense from?
My sister gave me a flyer. Wait a minute. Here it is.
She reads the flyer.
Summer fun at the YMCA. Bring your kids for a week of fun, fun, fun. Ages 6 to 13, June 23rd through 28th. Be here at 7 a.m. sharp. Only 10 spots available. For more info, call 901-555-2655.
Ma'am, like I said, this is not a summer camp. You got 1 hour to pick up your kids.
What happened to the village that helped raise the kids? You know, that Indian and cowboy. The YMCA, take your kids to the YMCA.
Ma'am, are you singing the song by the village people?
Yeah, them people.
Ma'am, they never said that in the song. 1 hour or we'll have to call CPS.
Is that a summer camp? Because they need someplace to go the whole summer.
Child Protective Services, ma'am.
What kind of protection do they offer? Macy will need some protection because she said some kids been messing with her, so that'll be good. And do they have church services too? They love to sing. Wait a minute. I taught them this song. Listen. Mary had a little lamb. Oh, oh, oh.
Ma'am, please stop with that nonsense. You got 30 minutes to get your kids.
She hangs up the phone.
Rude. Just wait till I see her.
She picks up the flyer and shakes her head.
You got me, Mo. It's on, girl.
She crumbles the paper and throws it on the table. Exit stage left. Scene 3, Charmaine is waiting outside with the girls, frustrated, smoking a cigarette. Macy and Layla are playing tag and laughing while coughing from secondhand smoke. Elda walks up mad.
Well, it's about time you got here.
Wait, I know you ain't smoking in front of them. Don't you see them coughing? I will snatch that cigarette out your mouth and offer you up as a burnt offering to the Lord. Y'all come on here, running around here coughing like little maniacs.
Auntie, my lungs hurt.
Mine's too. I can't breathe.
You're banned from the YMCA, Elder.
Whatever. I'll start my own YMCA Community Village Program services.
They leave, and a short time later, they re-enter Elda's house and go to the living room.
Y'all go and put your stuff away. I need a nap.
They all exit stage right. Back to the present day, 1996, Layla and Elda sitting on the couch talking and laughing.
Auntie, you were so mad that day. I thought you were going to jail.
Me too, for beating up Mo for that fake flyer. That's why I made her start a neighborhood watch program with me and watch every neighbor in the hood.
I remember that. You made her wear a football helmet and told her it was a requirement.
That's right. My program, my rules. And it served her right. Her helmet went with our military attirement. Green. Then got mad because I didn't wear one. Like I was gonna mess up my Jerry girl. Wearing a bike helmet.
Wait, I don't remember y'all being in the military, though. What branch, Auntie?
The Army, girl.
Really, Auntie? Whose Army?
Elda stands up, walks back and forth, dancing and clapping her hands.
I'm a soldier in the army of the Lord. We were soldiers in the army. We were soldiers in the army of the Lord. We were soldiers in the army. Woo!
She faces the audience and salutes.
I love you, Auntie. You're crazy, though. Wow. It seems like things were so much simpler back in the day, and family didn't have to just be blood related, but you embraced the whole hood. Everybody was family.
Yes, back in the day, we really did look out for each other. Our house was like an underground railroad. When people came over, they knew they were in a safe place. Sometimes we had to make them go home.
Back in the day when things were good as gold, when we loved our neighbors and took care of our old. Back in the day when skies were gray, when we knew what to do to turn our gray skies blue. We laughed together, we cried together, we stood together through stormy weather.
Back in the day when my house was your house, my home was your home.
When we stood as one and never walked alone.
Yeah, girl, you never alone, baby.
You can't sing like that, Miss Charmaine.
Ooh, she called you out.
Well, you just hold on 1 second.
Go ahead.
Back in the day when things were good as gold, when we loved our neighbors and took care of our own. Back in the day when our skies were gray, when we knew what to do to turn our gray skies blue. We laughed together.
We cried together.
We stood together
through stormy weather. Back in the day when my house was your house, my home was your home.
When we stood as one and never walked alone.
Ooh, hit that one more time.
One more time.
All right.
Ooh, say that one more time.
Yes.
And never walked alone.
Back in the day.
Yes, that was back in the day.
Back in the day.
I'm on my break.
Yes, that was back in the day.
Back in the day.
That
Woo.
was back in the day.
Back in the day.
Back in the day.
Go, girl.
Yes,
that was back. In the day. Woo!
Yeah, I like that. That works.
Woo! Now that was good.
That was good. That was awesome. Yeah, that's it, Mo. But don't think I forgot about that flyer.
Girl, that was back in the day.
Back in the day.
Yes, that was back in the day.
Back in the day.
Yes, that was back in the day.
Ooh, back in the day. Yes.
That was back in the day.
Back in the day. Yes, that was back in the day.
In the good old days, yeah.
All right. All right.
End of play.
Oh my God, that was awesome. That